And yes, we are live. You are so welcome, 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 welcome today to Strive Recovery Academy. You are welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. We are welcome. We appreciate your coming today. Today, we're going to be talking about something very, very important, something that people hardly talk about: how to rebuild your identity after addiction took everything. If addiction took your life, your relationship, your opportunities, your confidence, maybe even your sense of who you are, then this video is for you. One of the hardest parts of recovery is something that almost nobody talks about. It's not just you quitting the substance or quitting that thing that you used to like before. It's awakening. It's a waking up of one day and realizing it doesn't even know that this is who you are. You don't know who you are anymore. Do you know that addiction doesn't just affect behavior? Over time, addiction reshapes your identity. It changes how you are, how you see yourself. It changes what you believe you deserve. It changes the story you tell yourself about your life. So when addiction is gone, many people are left with a painful question: who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I after addiction? Today, we are going to talk about how to rebuild your identity after addiction took everything. Not just surviving recovery, but rebuilding a life that is stronger, that is clearer, and even more meaningful than before. And if you are new here, my name is Nurse Ovi. I am a mental health and addiction recovery advocate. On this channel, we talk about mental health, we talk about addiction recovery, we talk about healing with compassion, emotional healing, rebuilding your life with purpose. So if this kind of content supports you, make sure you subscribe, comment down below. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your thoughts. And share this video with your loved ones. Let's dig in into what we are doing today. Now, why does it look like addiction has stolen everything? Addiction doesn't just steal behavior, it steals your identity. This is one of the biggest misconceptions about addiction. Most people have this conception that it is only substance that is addiction. No, substance is not the only thing that people can be addicted to. People can be addicted to alcohol. People can be addicted to drugs. They can even be addicted to subscription medication. They can even be nowadays it's even common. People are addicted to their phones. They are addicted to social media. People are even addicted to even books. It's just that with books, it's a positive form of addiction. Addiction is never just about substance. Addiction begins slowly to reconstruct a person's identity. It begins slowly to reconstruct a person's identity. Over time, people begin to define themselves through the addiction. I'm the one who always drinks. I'm the one who always can't stop. I'm the one who messes everything up. Eventually, that identity becomes internalized. And when that happens, addiction becomes even more than a habit. Now, it becomes a relief system, a belief about who you are, a belief about what you deserve, a belief about whether changes is even possible or not. So, when someone enters recovery and the addiction is removed, they often feel something unexpected. They feel empty. Emptiness creeps in. They feel confusion. They feel confused. They feel disoriented. Not because they want the addiction back, but because the identity that surrounds it had suddenly gone away. Now, what do we do in this situation? Now, because they are left with that space, that empty space that addiction used to fill, this is why many people in recovery feel lost, and that experience is completely normal. That experience is completely normal. That's why most times people will say, when you lose something about when there's an empty space, you need to fill it up with something else so that that thing does not creep in. Now, the identity collapse after addiction. What is that identity that collapses after addiction? When addiction has been part of someone's life for many years, it becomes intertwined with daily routine. Now, when you go, who you spend time with, where you go is who you spend time with, how you cope with stress, how you celebrate yourself, how you escape pain. When that addiction stop, all of those structures disappear. This creates what psychologists sometimes refers to as identity collapse. Now, identity collapse happens when the old version of yourself no longer exists, but the new version hasn't fully be formed yet. When the new version of you have not fully be formed yet, but the old version has gone away. And this is deeply uncomfortable space. It can feel like standing between two worlds, standing between two walls. You are no longer that person you used to be, but you haven't fully discovered the person you are becoming. Many people mistake this stage as a failure stage. No, it's not. They mistake it as a failure stage, but it is not failure. It is a transformation in process. Now, the old identity has to break down before a new one can be built. Before a new one can be built. So why does shame blocks the identity rebuilding of time? Why shame blocks identity rebuilding time? Now, there's another major obstacle in recovery, or there's another major obstacle in recovery, and this major obstacle is shame. Shame says things like, you have ruined your life. You have ruined your life. You have wasted too many years. You can fix the damage. Shame actually convinces people that their past disqualifies them from having a meaningful future. That is what shame does. Can you remember in the Bible? Peter denied Jesus in Luke chapter 22. But Peter, he denied Jesus 3 times. But he never went down and said, "Oh, I did this, I did that. Therefore, I know God will not forgive me. Therefore, no, let me just start doing the wrong thing since I've already done it before." No, he didn't do that. He fell. Why? He denied Jesus. But he realized that he denied Jesus. And he went back and he rededicated his life. And that's all the miracles, all what he did afterwards. If he had neglected himself, if he had relapsed, or if he had said, okay, convinced himself and said, "Oh, I'm not good enough," all what he did, he wouldn't have been able to do them. That prophecy that was prophesied for him, that upon him, he is the rock to which upon him the church of God will be built, it wouldn't have come to pass. No. He didn't just dwell in the wrong that he did. So, the old identity has to break down before a new one can be built. Shame convinces people that their past disqualify them from having a meaningful future. Do not allow shame to convince you with that. No, do not. Shame is one of the most powerful force keeping people stuck. Because if someone believes they are permanently broken, they stop trying to rebuild. The truth is, recovery is not about pretending that the past didn't happen. No. Recovery is about transforming the meaning of the past. Your past experience does not have to define your future identity. Peter never allowed his past experience, the fact that he denied Jesus, to block him from what he needed to do. He didn't allow it to block him from the future. He did not allow his past to define his future. Now, they become the foundation of growth. Your past becomes the foundation of growth, of wisdom, and of empathy. Now, the first step in rebuilding your identity is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the first step to rebuild identity. Many people spend years in survival mode. They spend years just living the life, not trying to outstretch themselves. They spend so many years living that low-key life, low-key mode during addiction. When you are in survival mode, you are not focused on recovery. When you are in survival mode, you do not focus on discovering yourself. Now, what do? You focus more on getting through the day. So survival mode is not the best mode that you are supposed to be in. So recovery creates a new opportunity, the opportunity to ask deeper questions. Questions like, what value matters to me? What kind of person do I want to become? What kind of relationship do I want to have in my life? What kind of life actually aligns with my mental health? Those are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself. These questions are powerful because identity is not discovered by accident. Identity is not discovered by what? Accident. Identity is constructed intentionally. Last week we talked about how you need, when you are building something or you are innovating something, that thing needs to collapse for you to build on it. There need to be a reconstruction. Identity is not built on one dramatic moment. Identity is built through small daily choices. Small daily choices. Your habit shapes your identity. When you wake up each day, make a decision to align with healing. You begin to reinforce a new story about who you are. Instead of saying, I'm this person who destroyed everything, you begin to see evidence that you are someone who shows up, someone who grows, someone who takes responsibility, someone who rebuilds. Over time, those small choices accumulate, and the new identity becomes stronger than the older ones. So a pathway needs to be built. There needs to be a reconstruction. Another important part of rebuilding identity is environment. The environment you live, the environment you find yourself. People often underestimate how much their surrounding influence their behavior. If someone stays in the same environment that supported addiction, that old identity will constantly be triggered. That is why, recovery often requires changes in your environment. It requires changes in your friendship. It requires changes in the things that you see every day. It requires changes in the things that surround you. Yes, that is what recovery does. Recovery requires changes in your daily routine, in your social environment. The goal is not isolation. The goal is the fact that it aligns with your value. Now you have to surround yourself with people who supported your growth or who supports your growth. People who reinforce the identity you are building. Surround yourself with people whom reinforce the identity you are building and whom you can actually emulate. Now, one of the biggest gap that addiction leaves behind is purpose. Many people say, I'm still looking for my purpose. I'm looking for my purpose. I need this. But one big gap that leaves behind, that addiction leaves behind, is purpose. Many addictions temporarily feels emotional pain. When when I talk about coping mechanism, I'm talking about the things that make you relax when you want to have addiction. Now, that coping mechanism disappears. People feel void. When you're no longer taking that substance, when you're no longer doing that thing which you love to do, that has become an addiction, you feel void. But that void can become the space where purpose grows. That void can become a space where purpose grows. In my kids' mentorship program, my son, in his mentorship program, last month, they talked about the gift of boredom. What boredom can do to you. Now, instead of a child to be saying, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, instead of him running around and doing things that we even make him saying he's trying to recover from being bored, when he sits down and meditates, he may be able to create something innovative. So, during this, the gap that this addiction may create can actually be a gift. It can be a gift of purpose. It can be a space where growth begins. Now, what are those purpose? What does it look like? Purpose can look like or might look like helping others in recovery. Purpose might look like rebuilding family relationship. Purpose might look like developing new skills. Purpose might look like pursuing education. Purpose might look like serving your community, like volunteering. Now, all this purpose, what do? They give meaning to the rebuilding process. They give what? Meaning to the rebuilding process. Now, growth is not a linear factor. No. One important truth about rebuilding identity is this: growth is not a linear factor or a linear line, is not a straight line. There will be setback. There will be difficult days. There will be moments of doubt. There will be moments of fear. There will be moments where the old identity tries to resurface. That doesn't mean you are failing. That means you are human. Recovery is a process of continuous rebuilding, not perfection. It is progress. Recovery is progress. Now, if addiction took years of your life, remember this: you are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. You have insight and you have resilience. You have awareness that many people never develop. And those experiences can become the foundation of a new life, a stronger life, a wiser life, a more purposed life. Building your identity is not about erasing your past. It is about transforming it into strength. Now, we're not going to be erasing the past. No, we can't do that. But we're going to use that situation to build strength. We're going to use that situation, that experience, to build strength. We're going to use that experience to get transformed so that your future will be a better place. Now, if this video spoke to you, I want you to hear from me. Comment below, rebuilding. And if you know someone who is trying to rebuild their life after addiction, share this video with them, because recovery becomes stronger when people realize they are not alone. If you want more content on mental health and addiction recovery and emotional well-being, make sure you subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Subscribe, comment, and share this video with everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. I will see you in my next one. Thank you. God bless you.